This story is about a 16-year-old named Matt Miles. He was not a happy guy. It was Christmas season. All year he'd been asked his family for a rifle. But he was down in the dumps because he was not going to get that rifle. He and his dad had done the chores early Christmas Eve. They had come into the cabin, had supper. Matt took off his boots to relax in front of the fire, and he knew his dad would then go ahead and read the Bible for the nightly reading of the Bible. But instead of going outside, instead of staying inside, his dad went outside and was gone for a few minutes. And Matt's going, well, why has he gone out? We've already done all the chores. Eventually, his dad came back in and says, Matt, come on, I need your help. Oh, man. Not only was he not getting his rifle, now had to go do something with his dad. He says his dad told him, dress warm. He put on his coat, his gloves, dressed warm, came outside, and it was bitter cold. And the wagon that they had been transformed into a sleigh. As soon as he saw the sleigh and the draw horses, he knew we're going to have to do something that requires a lot of work. On Christmas Eve, he got on the wagon. They drove around the house to the wood pile, the woodshed. And Dad went into the woodshed, got a pile of wood, brought it out, and dumped it into the wagon. Pa, what are you doing? You know Widow Jensen's house 2 miles down the road? Yeah. Widow Jensen had lost her husband 2 years before and had 3 kids. Pa said, I see they don't have any wood. When I saw Jacobs, the 8-year-old, outside wearing gunny sacks for shoes and trying to scramble around a very sparse wood pile for chips, I knew they needed some wood. So Matt got off the wagon and helped carrying the wood from their storage area to the wagon, back and forth, and the pile of wood grew bigger and bigger and bigger in the wagon. It was such a load of wood, Matt wanted to be even able to carry that wood down to 2 miles to Sister Jensen. But not only that, Pa then led him to the cooler house, gave Matt a side of ham and some bacon. While Matt took that back, his dad followed him later with a sack in his hand and a big flour bag of flour. And they loaded the wagon. They got in the wagon and headed for Sister Jensen's house. Once they arrived, they quietly got the wood from the wagon sled and put it in the pile where they normally would have wood. And they filed that wood all nice and organized. Once they were done delivering that wood, his pa and Matt went to the front. His pa knocked on the door. Who is it? Sister Jensen asked. It's Lucas Miles and my son Matt. Can we come in? She opened the door, let them in. She lit a candle. She had a blanket over her shoulders. Her 3 children were close to a very small fire with a blanket over their shoulders. It was a cold room. We came to drop off a few supplies, ma'am. Matt then dropped off the ham and the bacon. Pa delivered the bag of flour and then the bag. Sister Jensen opened the bag, and what was in the bag was shoes. A pair of shoes for her and each of her children. Very good, sturdy shoes. And they fit perfectly. Sister Jensen had tears in her eyes. They went down her lips, but she couldn't speak of her feelings about having those shoes. Matt, why don't you bring some fire in to warm up this place? So Matt went out to the new pile of wood and brought in several loads of wood, and soon the room was warm and comfortable, and spirits rose with the heat of the house. As they warmed up, Sister Jensen says, we prayed for someone to help us. Thank you, Brother Miles. And as they began to head out, Pa told her, my missus would like to have you and the kids come to a Christmas lunch tomorrow. Around 11 o'clock, we can pick you up. It's been a long time since we've had young'uns in our home for Christmas. Thank you, Brother Miles. As we got out to the wagon, I did not feel the cold. My heart was warm. Tears were in my eyes. And I realized we saved lives tonight. We got on the wagon, headed home, and Pa said, "Son, your Ma and I were saving money to buy a rifle for you. We almost had the exact amount, but were still short. And then a man came to visit. He owed me money a couple of years ago. He made it even, and we finally had the money to buy a rifle. As I was going down to the store this morning to buy that rifle, I looked over and saw that 8-year-old scrambling for wood, using gunny sacks for shoes, and I knew we had to use the money for a better purpose. I bought shoes for the kids and the shoes for Sister Jensen. The rifle no longer mattered. My Pa gave me the best Christmas I'd ever received by me having those memories of those kids in the fireplace. And every time I chopped wood, I thought of how that wood warmed up a house, a cabin, a home. Thank you.